Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Daniel Davis Deep Dive Roundtable edition. We actually have Gary in front of the camera this time. He's got too many great ideas. I wasn't about to leave him out of this one because, man, is the world on fire right now because of what happened in the Oval Office in Washington, D.C. And we're also privileged to have Larry Johnson back for the second time in 1 week. That's a big plus here because Larry not only has some good ideas, he's also well connected. So I'm going to be real interested in hearing all of our viewpoints on this today. Gosh, Larry, I mean, just what did you think? I just got to ask, when you first saw these clips that happened, what in the world went through your mind?
Well, I made a prediction that in the meeting with both Macron and Starmer, who had coordinated in advance. Their goal was to get Trump on board, to back them, to go in and support Ukraine. They're going to get the United States involved. And I said there was so much smoke being blown up, both Macron and Starmer's nether regions, that I was surprised the fire department, DC Fire Department, was not called to the White House. Hey, we got a lot of smoke coming out of there. So I figured today, man, that smoke machine was going to be roaring full blast. Well, it caught fire.
Well, yeah, it wasn't just smoke, man. There was an explosion. I don't even think just fire was going to get it.
Somebody got the methane gas next to the spark, and kaboom! It showed that Zelensky either didn't listen to his handlers, or his handlers are fools. So he shows up instead. He should have been there in a suit and tie. If he would have showed up in a suit and tie for the first time, that would have initially disarmed Donald Trump. But instead, he shows up with his ninja pajama outfit, okay? And he had everything but the fuzzy bunny slippers on.
It's funny, Larry, when he got there, Trump even mentioned, as soon as he got out of his car, he says, hey, he dressed for the meeting because he wore his better tracksuit, not his workout tracksuit.
Yeah, he didn't go for the green goblin look.
Right.
Oh, boy. And then they get into the Oval Office, and you know what? It got downright spicy, testy.
Larry, one thing that in terms of optics, Gary pointed this out on Monday when Emmanuel Macron rolled up in a limousine in that exact same spot on Monday. Trump didn't meet him there. He let some
it was a lady,
public affairs person meet him, whatever. He walked in. This time, Trump met him at the front door. And so you're thinking, all right, well, he's already given him more accord than he did to the president of France. And then the guy just blew it up.
Yeah. Instead of, Zelensky went in thinking I guess he thought he could bully Trump. Now, I don't put Trump up on some pedestal as if he's a god, but Trump he's a New York real estate guy, and he's used to trading punches, okay? And so, Zelensky has never been up against anybody like this. And then here's Zelensky starts blasting him, and Trump lets J.D. Vance do some of the punching. This is like, on social media, there's this guy called Steve Inman who replays videos of people that are getting beat up or that start fights. And it's usually the bullies that are getting taken down. This would have been one of those Steve Inman videos where, get in and get some shots to the dome on Zelensky. And then Trump joins it because Zelensky at one point accuses J.D. Vance of yelling. Now, J.D. Vance was very measured and polite and low key. And Trump goes, he ain't yelling. You want to know what yelling is? This is yelling.
Yeah. And, I want to start off, Gary, if you can bring that video up, because we're going to start and stop it at very, very sparse. But I want to zero in first of all with respect, you two guys, right at the beginning of this, because first of all, you see here, this is at the very start. So this is before any of the fireworks started. You see Zelensky's leaning in. He's leaning in and he's lecturing Vance because what preceded the video you're about to see here is that Vance had talked about we wanted, do diplomatic ends to this war. We want to see an end. And for some reason, and either one of y'all want to jump in on this once we see it, you have Zelensky, instead of just nodding and saying, okay, whatever you think, and then saying whatever he wants when the cameras get turned off, going behind closed doors, he starts lecturing the vice president of the United States, calls him by his first name and mocks him. Watch how this starts.
Yeah, let me just set the background. By the way, this has been going on for 25 minutes now. So they're They're going back and forth with the press for 25 minutes. And then this is what happens as it starts to unfold here.
Ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Okay, stop right there.
Yeah, boy, Richmond is twice like in 2 seconds, right?
And then let me start the conversation with this. If Zelensky had just shut his mouth right then, it would have been an uncomfortable moment, and then things would have went on. But he kept going. He couldn't close his mouth.
Yeah, no, he had to argue the facts, and he had no facts on his side to argue.
And I love that JD didn't waste 1 second getting right back in on it, right?
Yeah. So he might as well have taken lighter fluid to the office, poured it on himself and Zelensky, and then let it off.
I truly do, Larry. I think that this was basically political suicide. I mean, if he had any chance, we showed this on a show earlier today, but 2 days ago, it was on the 26th, Zelensky made one of his little selfie videos that he does every day. And in it, he said, it is very important for us and for the world that America not stop its support of Ukraine. We have to be strong to get peace. That was his objective. So if that's your objective, why in God's name are you going to sit there in front of God in the world, live on television, and start calling out the vice president? And then, as you'll see in a second, he turns on Trump.
Yeah.
You see what problems we have.
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to
Again,
prevent
Zelensky, just shut up.
Yeah, but he's not going to. Boy,
He's not going to.
Did not Vance just set the stage beautifully? Here's what's going on here, and he ignores it.
But I was just saying, looking at this, I think actually Trump and Vance may have been part of a plan. They are laying out the predicate. They're laying out the case for why Zelensky has to go as leader of Ukraine, because they know that Putin's not going to negotiate with him. So they've got to get rid of Zelensky. And here today, Zelensky dug his own grave.
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not.
Here he goes again, man. Just shut up.
We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
Oh, I love that. Don't tell us. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. I mean,
because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
Okay, pause it right there.
Yeah.
You see that Trump is really focused where his issue is. He doesn't want this thing to go anywhere else. And Zelensky just keeps going. I guess he just decided, I'm going to go all in now, and I'm going to keep telling you what I think. And I'm the president. And by the way, this one comment that he said there, Trump says, you don't have the cards. And Zelensky has that cocky comment, I ain't playing cards, like he thinks he's has a good comment. And Larry, this is where I want to get into some of the things that I know you've seen beyond this video. A lot of the media, especially those that don't like Trump, are focusing in on that comment. That he said, "I'm not like he's the adult in the room." How do you see that?
Well, I monitor the Brits because, again, this entire week, the visit of Macron, then the visit by Starmer, and then this today. This was all planned by the Europeans. This was their last Hail Mary pass to try to get the United States to stick with the Project Ukraine, to continue to get the United States to back them up. That if push comes to shove, they know that the United States is going to have their back. And so, Trump had great meetings, very pleasant, upbeat with Macron and with Starmer, but did not concede on the very thing that came, which was to get a commitment that he was going to help out in Ukraine if they get into trouble. In fact, that question was raised. He says, "Oh, you don't need us, you Brits, man. You can take care of that yourselves." just put it back on them. Now, the British press generally understood what had happened. They understood that Trump, hey, man, he was magnanimous towards the Brits. He says, we're not going to put you on that same European Union list of tariffs. We'll eliminate that. That's critical for the UK. They're export dependent on the United States. As far as the United States is concerned with the UK, they're really not an important part of our economic picture. But when it came to getting on board with Ukraine, he rebuffed them. And so this today, it was Zelensky's last chance. Signed the deal, and when you look at that deal, you had a conversation with Alexander Mercouris. I haven't had a chance to watch that yet, but I know that he's commented on the fact that when he's read through the so-called deal, it's a hot mess. It doesn't commit anybody to anything, and it's not even enforceable. So but Zelensky could have played along. Instead, he did exactly what you shouldn't do with Donald Trump if you want to influence Donald Trump. And I would not be surprised that right now, Ratcliffe at the CIA has ordered the Directorate of Operations to send orders to the field. All CIA officers are to be returning to headquarters now.
Ironically, that's what Doug has suggested on our show before, Gary.
Guys, yeah. Hey, guys, isn't Zelensky treating this battle right here, the battle in the Oval Office, just the way he treated the battle in his own country? He looks at the battlefield and he ignores the realities and just plunges on, no matter what.
Wow, that's a great point.
Yeah,
he's been dealing with complete just ignoring all the facts on the ground, just seeing what he wants, and then now here, gosh,
ignoring all the facts that he's hearing that has been thrown back in his face.
And he's supposed to be a great actor, and so you would think that he would know how to play to a crowd, but I don't know what can be going on in his mind that would allow him to keep going down this path and to think there's any positive outcome that can come from it.
You know what everybody says about that. The cocaine's got a hold of him. He's not even doesn't have his wits about him anymore.
Now, what's fascinating is, so I've tuned into Sky News because they're usually a reliable indicator of where the British public are and sort of the key government players. They're shocked that they are slack-jawed. Their jaws are hanging open. They can't believe what they've seen.
In what direction are they shocked at Zelensky or shocked at Trump?
I'm just shocked at Zelensky.
Yeah.
They're shocked. They recognize now, as far as Trump is concerned with Ukraine is done. It's a finished deal. And if anything's going to happen going forward, it's going to be entirely on the shoulders of the United Kingdom and the French. And they don't have the economic strength. They don't have the military strength. And Starmer is, he's doing make-believe, dress up like a little 5-year-old kid pretending to be a firefighter or a soldier or a cowboy. It's all make-believe because in terms of actually doing something, they've come to an end of the line.
Yeah. We'll go on here. Let's go.
Very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October.
There we
offering
go.
some words of appreciation for
That's
the
one of
United
the things you see. That's been a sore point. I forgot to mention that part there. Because obviously that was at the front of Vance's mind that he basically came and campaigned for the Biden or Harris, I'm sorry, in Pennsylvania right before this happened. You remember he was signing some some artillery shells that were being made, whatever. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know that issue didn't come up yesterday with Starmer because it was the blow the smoke up the nether regions meeting, but that was in the back of their minds, and Starmer knew it. He knew that he had made a terrible mistake by backing Harris and trying to send in his campaign workers. Trump's just going to let them stew. He's letting them dig their own. Again, with the Brits, he's been very pleasant about it. And like, oh man, Starmer, if I had your accent, by God, I would have been president long ago, man. People would have loved me.
He said the same thing to Macron, though. Come on.
Yeah. So I mean,
He loves accents.
He's got the butter out and he's slathering it on for him, and they think that they're being charming with Trump, and that, oh yeah, we're telling Trump what a great guy he is, but Trump didn't ask them for a single thing. Yeah. Trump didn't say, oh guys, listen, I need some help here. Could you get this for it? No, they were the ones. They were the supplicants. And
we actually had John Mearsheimer on this afternoon, was talking about those things, and he goes, those guys were actually playing wise. They tried for their Hail Mary pass in your lingo there, but he said they're also recognizing that there are issues well beyond the war here, and so they're mentally going, all right, what are we going to do on the other side of this? So they have to keep good relations with the United States, but Zelensky seems not to have learned that lesson.
Oh no, not at all. And as is shown in this clip, instead of an apology, man, he just doubles down on stupid.
Yeah, let's keep going.
I'll show you later what he ended up tweeting out after.
Yeah. I was going to say,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly.
Here's Gary's favorite part.
Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You haven't been alone.
In this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion. We gave you military equipment, and your men are brave, but they had to use our military. If you didn't have...
There we go. He's pushing them now.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Well,
Look at it.
It's the dominant, it's like when the
alpha male,
when the two elks meet and start clashing horns, except he doesn't have any horns to clash with.
He's putting them back, and you get back in your place, Buster.
Yeah. I mean, it was, and then this again, Zelensky thinks he can argue his way out of this.
It's unbelievable.
You would think at this point in time he'd realize, wait a second, this isn't going well. I'm not winning this, but no.
Our military equipment. If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days.
Oh, man. So now he's mocking Trump by it's the same trope that Putin said. No, it's not what. Number one, Putin never said he was going to take Kiev in 3 days. That was actually Mark Milley who said he was afraid of that. But the issue here is that, but Zelensky himself has said that without American support, we would lose. And all Trump did was repeat that. And instead he's mocking him and moving on.
Takes balls, right?
Or the absence of intelligence. I'm not sure that's a ballsy issue.
Dumb balls.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again, just say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people.
Yeah, here you go. This is what you were talking about.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards.
Thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster.
He's still
than
asking for guarantees. Stop it right there for a second.
Yeah.
He's still saying, Trump is just saying, we need to get this war over so your people stop dying. Trump is actually focused on helping the people of Ukraine. And Zelensky is just like, no. I want guarantees so we don't want to stop fighting. You're not going to get guarantees. He was already clear, but he's still saying he wants guarantees right now. How can that be?
Yeah, well, and then on top of it, it reinforces what Vladimir Putin has been saying all along, that this guy's impossible to deal with. And he's showing that, when Putin says, we're not going to talk to there's no legitimacy with Zelensky. We're not going to talk to him. This actually reinforces Putin's position now going forward, and it gives actually Putin some more leverage in coming up with a negotiating strategy with the United States.
You know what else is? It's almost unbelievable that, as we know, this White House has been so transparent. Trump's out there every single day. He's been broadcasting exactly everything that he's now saying in every meeting that he's had and every back and forth that he's had about these guarantees. So it should be of no surprise to him that he's continuing to say that. But like you said, Danny, he keeps pushing for it when he already knows where's Trump coming from.
Well, and look in the background. You see what's not on?
The
fireplace. Fireplace is not burning.
You're right.
Yeah, because usually when you have a warm meeting and the fire, people are hearing like Christmas carols in their heads.
The ambiance, exactly. Yes.
The chestnuts roasting on an open fire, and then they turn that off for a reason.
Yeah, that's right. The cold, sober reality of this White House is coming in your face, mister.
Wow. I didn't even notice that, actually. That's why we have you on here with your
CIA. That's why I get paid the big bucks.
It is.
The big bucks.
Ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me. That wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful.
Oh, okay. Did you see that right there? Look at Zelensky's face. Okay. This was being reported already that by Fox News afterwards. It said this is where Trump's other, like Secretary of State and Waltz, etc., they were getting aggravated at this because he just rolled his eyes. Now he's got that look on his face, and they were not happy.
I couldn't have timed it more perfectly. Look at this look. You're right. Sheets and javelins. Which did I prefer?
Yeah, no, he didn't endear himself to anybody in the Bush team, and in the Trump team, and this is. I think this is unrecoverable. He can go out. He can go out and do damage control all he wants after this.
There isn't any.
This gave Trump exactly what he wanted. They want to get rid of Zelensky. They've now got the casus belli for doing it.
Yeah.
But two things. He was supposed to give a speech after this at the Hudson Institute. He canceled that. That's been canceled. I haven't heard yet. He was supposed to be on with Bret Baier during the 6 o'clock hour. Yeah. I don't know if that's on or not, but they did cancel his speech that he was to give.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to want to go on that. I read also some reports that said that the White House said, yeah, you can just leave. They're not going to be any more unless you want to come back and sign that deal. But apparently that's off the table. Even and Trump's going, yeah, I wash my hands of it.
Yeah. I got a little bit of something of that of a reporter that's in the White House. We just have another minute here of this back and forth here.
You don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to this Vice President.
Yeah, I think that's about it, actually.
It's going to be a tough
Wait
deal.
one second.
Oh,
Because the attitudes have to change.
There we go. The attitudes have to change.
don't
That's
think
how
they're
we
going
left
to.
it there.
And
And
what's
what do you got, Gary?
Oh, we can just play this. This is the White House reporter for Fox, just describing what went on after that all went down.
Left the White House, and the lunch that the two sides were supposed to dine on was sitting in the press area. When I went up to ask what was going on, we're told White House staffers are going to eat it themselves.
What is that? What kind of delicacies were they getting into?
Well, what's fascinating to me is the Brits that what we've looked at this clip and bits start to stop. The Brits are running that 10-minute clip without pause. They're just running it, and they're showing it every hour. Every hour is breaking news. I mean, top of the hour, bottom of the hour, top of the hour, bottom of the hour. And, right now it's usually they go to sort of their standard programming where they're reading the news of the next day. Not tonight, baby.
And what have they been saying, Larry? Have they been saying like, yeah, this is going to have result in Trump walking away? It's going to be the end of the war. What are they saying?
I mean, that's what they're recognizing, that this means, the United States is out of this, and this whole thing is going to be on the shoulders of us, the UK, and we're not sure we can handle it. They were hopeful, because I made a point of watching them before Zelensky showed up, and they were expressing hope that out of this, Zelensky had signed the agreement, that secure that America was going to be there to help protect Ukraine, and that would give the Brits sort of the comfort they needed. Well, they were betting on that, and they lost.
Yeah, and Gary, if you can throw that True Social deal up there. This is this came just minutes after. So Trump must have gone back there and he was just picking up his phone and he was typing stuff out. And then he gets and Gary Larry, to your point there, he said we had a very meaningful meeting at the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without the conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes through emotions, and I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage. I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in his cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he's ready for peace. What do you make of that?
Yeah, man, he is laid the predicate for getting rid of Zelensky. And I even saw the Brits even had the little old lady from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham. What
did he say?
Colonel Pat Lang, now deceased, that was his nickname for Lindsey, the little old lady from South Carolina. He was actually expressing outrage at Zelensky's performance.
Yeah, yes, I've got him actually.
Okay,
we play Lindsey so much on this channel, rightfully so.
Right,
put him in place, right?
Well, usually he's out there carrying Zelensky on his shoulder and giving him a hug.
Yeah.
Like last week.
Yeah, but today, Graham was distraught.
He was. And listen what he has to say for Trump.
Ron, I'm any would-be adversary I'd be worried about right now. Mm-hmm. He gave a master class in how to stand up for America. That
was Trump.
And what did he say about Zelensky? Do you have any of that?
It was disgraceful how he handled himself.
Which is shocking, because we put him here. We showed his clip from last week in Kiev where he's standing there telling everybody, I'm glad that this guy's our ally. Remind me not to invade Ukraine. This guy just needs more stuff. We need to get. And then holy, that's a big issue for him to turn around like that.
Yeah, no, this is if you would have been predicting this, people would have said, nah, I think that's too far out. I really didn't expect. I was hoping there would be this kind of blow up, but man, I never expected it. and it exceeded all expectations.
Okay, let's play that Graham one, talking about how happy he is to have them as an ally.
I want to tell you and your people, you're the ally I've been hoping for all my life. Not one American has died defending Ukraine. You've taken our weapons and you've kicked their ass. And I'm very proud to have you as our ally.
There we go.
Apparently that pride expired today at the hands of no one short of Zelensky himself. Gosh, I mean, I keep saying it over and over. I think this is political suicide. I mean, it's past tense. It's beyond recovery. The real question is what's going to happen now. And Larry, I'd like your view, because I know you have some context and you follow some of the social media in Russia. What are Russians saying about this?
They're giddy. I mean, they are. I've had a call from a couple of reporters. They're just like, I can't believe this. This is unbelievable. They've never seen anything like this. And, I think they're happy with it, rightfully so, because it really does now signal the United States much of the ability of the Ukrainian military to carry out attacks inside Russia and to continue to operate on the battlefield has been through U.S. facilitation, and the U.S. has enabled it. This, I think, based upon what Trump said today, they're going to pull the plug. They say, okay, this is done. We put enough money into this dry hole. We're not going to keep sending good money after bad.
Yeah. And let me play how this meeting in the Oval Office ended. So this is like 45 seconds.
The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy, and I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave, but you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think, huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right, we'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thank you. Thanks.
I love how Trump
I hadn't seen that. That was new.
He knows how this is played out.
You're going to fight it out without us.
He didn't have a top-rated TV show for so many years for nothing. And people keep forgetting he's not the politician. He's the showman. He's the entertainer, and he's all about getting ratings.
He couldn't have orchestrated this better, could he?
No. Yeah, this was it was the buildup. You look at you had Macron, then you had Starmer, and all the expectations rising. Well, and he built the drama into it, and then he just
so then after this all then Zelensky tweets out, "Thank you, America, for your support. Thank you for this visit. Thank you, POTUS, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we're working exactly for that."
Yeah.
Wow. That's honestly, it's almost more embarrassing than if he'd have just been quiet on that too. To come back and say it now when he was lectured, multiple times by the vice president, to come back and say it's just not going to happen.
He had 45 minutes to make that point and didn't.
Yes, exactly. Oh, perfect. Bullseye, Larry.
Yeah. He could have, if he would have said that, he could actually should start off. He said, "Mr. President, before we say a thing, I need to thank you. I need to thank the Congress. I need to thank you." Remember that movie with this life story of George M. Cohan, and where he says, "I thank my mother, I thank my father, I thank my sister." That's what you needed to have, that George M. Cohan moment where thanked everybody. I want to thank the White House dog. I want to thank but instead he came in as a ungrateful, entitled person. I'll leave it.
And Larry, I think I don't think Trump had any idea that this was going to happen, but I think because when you're looking at his body language, and I was paying attention before all this stuff happened, he was just kind of sitting there like he always does. It wasn't really thinking anything, but then you could see his blood pressure started going up when he was going back and forth with Vance. And then I think that you're right. I think that he took advantage of it and turned it into something that I think that now that Trump is going to have a lot easier play now to just say, you guys are on your own with Europe, especially because it would have been hard. I think now it'll be a lot easier because Europe is going to say, what are they going to say? No, you should cling to this guy who's being irrational.
Yeah.
Trump can say, I did everything I could possibly have done. You saw it. You saw it right before your very eyes live.
Yeah. And I actually don't think that this was pre-planned simply by virtue that they didn't have the fireplace roaring. Because
exactly.
And I didn't pay attention to it when Starmer was there or Macron, but I wonder if they had the fireplace going for them, because it's still sort of cold up in DC. If you come on up on 1 March tomorrow and then onto the cherry blossoms. But this was a watershed moment in this war with Ukraine, and Zelensky committed a form of seppuku, ritual suicide on television.
Yeah, it has never happened in history.
I can tell you, neither with Starmer or Macron, no fireplace with either of them. So everybody got a cold shoulder, Larry.
Yeah. So they're sending, because if you go back and look at some of the others, you usually got the fireplace going.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's why I remember when Biden and Trump got together, the thing was roaring, right?
Yeah.
There's too many logs in the fire.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, Gary, I don't know if you saw on the screen, somebody said something about. Did you see the shot where Zelensky or Trump said something about if bombs are falling on you? I hadn't seen that one.
No, I didn't get that. That like I said, there was 25 minutes before when we joined in afterwards, and then I did see the end. I didn't see the first 25.
Right.
Got it. Okay. I have heard, by the way, from somebody who used to work with Zelensky. I'll just leave it at that. That he was a nasty is a nasty person behind the screen. He's come off as this Churchillian figure. He loves to foster that. He's been an actor all this time, but they said behind the scenes he is nasty to his staff. He's an unpleasant person, and this is the first time we saw some of that seep out in public. So I think more and more people are going to start to see this is who the guy's calling the shots. Yeah. Now then, Larry, when you start overlaying that with people willing finally to look, this guy refused to abide by the Minsk agreement. He refused to take the December 2021 offer that Putin gave that would have prevented war. He refused to take the Istanbul meeting in 2022 off ramp. He refused to have a negotiated settlement after the 2023 offensive crushed its teeth on the first line, and the war was clearly never going to be won. And then all of 2024, when they were losing and have done nothing but go backward, he still to this day wants security guarantees, or as he said on Piers Morgan, nuclear weapons. Yeah. That's who you're dealing with.
Yeah. And that's why the Russians say we can't deal with him. He's no longer a legitimate president. And it was interesting, Trump had called him a dictator, and then the other day was Starmer said, I never said that. But then today Trump kept using the word dictate. Yeah. He used that quite a few times with him. Hey, I'm going to have to jump here.
I know you have to jump, Larry. Thanks so much for joining us. That was great today. Really appreciate you, as always.
I appreciate the invitation, and man, we got to watch history being made.
Amen. Amen.
Glad you were part of it.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, Larry.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
All right, brother.
So
Danny, what a time. What a time. What a time.
And you see, people are liking this format, by the way, here. Can we do this weekly? So we probably will. Yeah. I think we are going to do these roundtable discussions.
Yeah. What's the next tag team we can have arranged in the White House that we could talk about, do you think?
Man.
I'd love to see more of this. Well, listen, I got to tell you, Danny, don't you love the transparency of this White House? It's unbelievable. Think of what we had the last 4 years, what was going on, shuffling around. And now we've got this day and night, right? It never stops. And we're getting to see it. And I tell you, I so appreciate that.
Yeah. And, and we'll just take Hegseth as an example. A lot of people don't like some of the things that he said. They don't like what he said about firing some of those generals. They're not. Yeah. Some don't like that he's going to hold people accountable for the Afghan withdrawal. They're going to do some investigation on that. But he's plainly straight up told you, and he even commented that you showed those sound bites, I think a week ago Saturday, to where he said, we're going to be more transparent. You juxtapose that with the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, who from the beginning of the war said that Ukraine can win. We believe they can win. It's all about winning. And first you have to believe they can win. And we do. At the very end, his last one he gave in January, they can still win. You had Secretary of State Anthony Blinken say, yes, we have set Ukraine up for success where they can stand on their own. That's what the kind of lies that we're told. And then now here we have Trump telling the truth.
And Danny, how often were they not just reading off a script all the time to us? That was it. Yeah, they'd answer some questions here and there, but they'd be looking at the script while they're answering the questions. This is what I so appreciate. It's wonderful, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely a new day here. And now we'll see what happens next, because Trump is clearly not going to he's not going to back up. He's not going to say, all right, you know what, even though you yelled at me in the Oval Office, I guess I'll go ahead and do what you asked.
Heck, he can lean in even more now, because now he's got full righteous anger that he could have against Zelensky, to lean in more and everything that he's been saying already, and say, listen, I've tried that. I've already done that. You guys know it. Now I'm really going forward and make it happen his way.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is like Larry said, this is history in the making, and we're going to continue tracking on this. And I mean, even if there's anything else happens later today, we may come back if there's more breaking news. We'll see what happens with that. So, but you can count on Daniel Davis Deep Dive and Gary and anybody else we may bring on to give you the no kidding, because we're transparent too. And as you know, we're unintimidated and uncompromised to bring you the truth, especially when it's breaking like this.
Amen, man. Thanks, everybody. Had a wonderful time. Great show with having you here.
Cool. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.